Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Just going to wait for you guys to tune in. Good morning. Good morning. Just clearing all of this junk on my table. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook and YouTube. How's everyone doing? I hope you're all doing amazing this Tuesday. Good morning, Bia on Instagram. Good morning, Bookie. Trev, good morning. Trisha, good morning. Um, how's everyone doing? Carl, good morning. If you're tuning in for the first time, definitely comment. Let's know you are a newbie. Okay. Toya on YouTube, good morning. Milton, good morning on YouTube as well. Vitalis, good morning. Herkel, good morning. Favorite Carrie Harris, oh my goodness. Favorite, I have missed you so much, How's life? How's life doing? Going, I mean, hope everything is going well with you and your family. Bella on Facebook, good morning. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration lawyer and I represent clients all over the United States with their U.S. immigration, naturalization, nationality matters. We handle family-based cases, humanitarian-based cases like VAWA cases, trafficking cases, visas which are victims of a serious crime. We also handle like requests for evidence, appeals, notices of intent to deny or intent to revoke, waivers, and all of that stuff. And if you would like to schedule a call with us, you can call us at 407-995-6567. Or you can send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. We have another phone number, which is the 678-325-1037. You can also call that number as well if you want to schedule a consult. Someone is asking, I'm a new person here. Hi, boy. Welcome. Good morning. Lamusu, good morning. Welcome, newbies. God's Little Plan, good morning. I'm filing for my mother and I have money for the IRS. Will it affect anything? What do you mean you have money for the IRS? Do you mean like you owe the IRS money? If you owe the IRS money, that shouldn't affect you filing for your mom, but you must make sure that you are filing your taxes because you need your tax transcript to be able to sponsor her or show why you haven't or why you're not eligible to file taxes. So it's fine that you owe money as long as you're making arrangements to pay. But you actually have to have a tax transcript to be able to submit to do the financial affidavit of support for her. Okay. Toya Simpson says, my lawyer sent in my renewal for my VAW work permit on February 27th, and up to now, I've not received my receipt notice. You should join the queue. It's that for everybody else. Since the new administration entered, they have literally put receipt notices on a snail mail. We're literally just getting receipts from December, like this week. So, and that's 4 months basically. So, what I say, if you are filing any kind of petition that does not require a filing fee, just fully expect that your receipt notices will take about 12 weeks. What's that? It's 12 weeks. 12 weeks. Wait, it's 12 weeks, 3 months. See, my math is like off. No, 16 weeks basically. So basically, you should expect like 4 months because based on what we're seeing, that's when we're seeing it. And this is reminding me of 2020 and 2021, which was how long the receipt notices were taking. They were prioritizing those where people were paying the filing fees. And those ones would get their receipt notices, maybe in like 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 9 weeks, because they need that money. But those with humanitarian-based cases, you're going to see a delay like everybody else. So February 27th really is not a long time. It's just 8 weeks. So it will still take a couple more weeks. That's what myself and every other attorney I know is experiencing. So it's not just your lawyer. Milton says, how long after sending the medical RFE after VA approval should I expect an answer? Honestly, I can't give you a timeline. Every officer is different. But if you've not heard anything in like 6 months, maybe you can check in and see what's going on. Okay. Esther, I filed my vow in September of 2022. I'm really hoping and praying I get approved this year. I am praying with you as well. I hope you do get it as well. Garden Ford, first timer, welcome. And Jeffrey Bernard, welcome, first timer. If you filed in June but still in the process, how long is the wait? Well, it will depend on what you filed. Well, what did you file? Favor says life is great working with New York City Department of Education. That is so awesome. Well, hopefully, with this Department of Education that they're cutting down or removing, I hope that doesn't affect your job. But I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. All right, let's see. I love when former clients come on here. Godfave, good morning. There's a timeline of how long you were with your spouse before filing for vow and discussing abuse timeline briefly before during marriage. I'm not sure I understand the question you're asking me. Yeah, I'm not sure the question you're asking me, unfortunately. If you can just be a little clearer. Godfrey says I should have called you. Yes, call us, 407-995-6567. If you don't catch the number, it's going to be in my profile when I get off this live, so you can just call that number. If you're on Facebook and use YouTube, you should be able to see it scrolling through the ticker right now. Tan Guyen on YouTube says, if there's a solid and strong evidence like kid, finance, taxes, insurance, trips, photos for the I-751, will they waive the interview even though I received a 2-year green card without an interview? It's possible, I can't really tell you for sure just because, those are things that are subject to the officer and what they're reviewing and what evidence that they're looking at. But it is possible. But, since you have all those things, it wouldn't really matter if you had an interview because your interview should be able to be pretty straightforward as well. I applied for a green card for my wife in the United Kingdom. It's been 9 months and no response. How much longer do we have to wait? Can we expedite if she's pregnant? Danny, 9 months is really not a long time, honestly. That's just scratching the surface. Consular processing takes like 2 years. So it depends on where in the stage you are. Are you at the I-130 stage? Have you filled out your National Visa Center application? Has that been documentary qualified? Have you been scheduled for an interview? So there's so many variables to it. Like, say if you're at the I-130 stage, they're not going to expedite just for the fact that your wife is pregnant unless she is experiencing some sort of health emergency that they're not able to take care of in the United Kingdom. United Kingdom being, another very developed country like the United States, it is hard to basically prove that, she can't get the healthcare there, unless maybe she doesn't have anyone and you're making the argument that she's on bed rest. I'm just giving you variables because I don't know what the situation is. She's on bed rest, she needs support or someone. So in that case, you can certainly try, but yeah. Timeline is what you're looking at. Blue Trillion, been a while. Miss Aisha, how are you? I'm doing good, thank you. I'm sleep deprived. I have been sleeping for like 3 hours every day this last few days. So I'm sleep deprived, but I'm alive and I thank God to be alive. Princess Abigail Strong says, I love you. You changed my life. Every time I see you, I cry. Just started crying. You changed my life. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm so glad, that, life is so much better for you. And thank God for everything. I love seeing people who have, really overcome a lot, and Princess Abigail is one of those. So I'm so proud of you. and favor on here. Like, I see so many of you guys that have overcome so much. So I'm so proud of you. How do I show that my income increased from what is on my tax return? You show that by presenting. So I guess, Joy, the question is, are you self-employed or do you have an employer? If you have an employer, you want to submit your most recent pay stubs. So like, 2024 taxes, like for 2025, I would submit like maybe all your pay stubs for April. So like that would be a total of 1 month's worth of pay stubs. So that's two, they pay in 2-week increments or weekly increments. And then also you can also send a letter from your employer showing this is what your income is that corroborates that. So that's what you can do to increase your income. Chris Datman says, so pretty. Oh, thank you so much. So it says about 601A waiver. What is your question? And speaking about 601A waiver, yesterday they changed the forms. So there are now new forms for 601A, 601, and for 360. 360 will apply to those applying for VAWA, SIJS, widower petition. So make sure that you're using the most updated version so that your file does not get rejected. Okay. My VAWA was denied, and I got an update that they transferred my I-485. What does that mean? It means that they're transferring it to the field office, which will deny it anyway. Sorry about that. I'm happy to have a look at your denial letter just to see, is it something that you can appeal? Are you still within the window to file a new VAWA application? Because, all is not lost. We've definitely been able to overcome many VAWA denials where people filed on their own and came to us and we fixed it. I always say I can't turn water into wine, but if it's something that we can argue, we certainly would love to help you make the argument and see if we can get that overturned. Okay. Let me see if I can click on these questions here. Okay. Should green card holders be afraid to travel with all these new restrictions? No. So, again, guys, I don't want you guys to live in fear and pandemonium because, it's like, you don't want the enemy to win. This is like a biblical, principle. Like I'm a Christian, so I'm a God girl. And, so if you're new to my channel, I don't believe in God. I believe in God, and I definitely use God in my practice and truly, look up to him. So going back to your question, I will tell you this. If you have a green card and you don't have any deportation orders, you do not have any deportable criminal offenses, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be able to travel. The rules have not changed. Because they're posting a bunch of mugshots on the White House lawn without giving you context or saying, oh, we did this raid and we detained this people, they're not giving you context. I'm sure you've heard some people like doing all this videos saying, oh, green card holders are being green card holders are being detained at the airport or they're not allowing them. But what they're not doing is giving you context to create fear. Okay. Why or in what situation will a green card holder be detained? So let's talk about that, because so that can rest and provide peace of mind to some of you. If you're a green card holder that you have a deportation order, right, or you are in deportation, you could be detained. You may ask, how can a green card holder have a deportation order? I will give you an example of that. For instance, if you have a 2-year conditional green card and you file for removal of conditions and your removal of conditions gets denied, for example, they are required to put you in deportation proceedings. So let's just say they put you in deportation proceedings, and while you're in deportation proceedings, you refile your removal of condition. You hire a good lawyer like myself, and we refile it, and your case gets approved. They will approve you for a green card. However, that deportation proceedings or that deportation order has to be terminated. So before you leave the country, you still have to terminate that. If you don't terminate that, that is when you can find yourself in that situation. Another example, if you commit a crime that is deportable post your green card, you could, and if it's a deportable offense, you could be detained in that category. If you are part of what they consider it, anti Semitic, or threat to, um, you know, I guess Jewish Americans or whatever the case may be, and you're very vocal about it. Maybe you're planning like, protests and riots or whatever the case may be. Those are situations they can detain you. Yes, are there some people that are that they've gone back and forth about? I'm sure you guys have heard about the green card holder at Colombia who led the protests. The anti or the pro-Palestinian. I shouldn't say anti-Semitic because honestly I didn't pay attention to the protest, so I don't know the contents of the protest. But there is some context. Is it right that he doesn't have freedom of speech? No. Should he be given due process? Absolutely. Okay. But if you don't have that going on, you should be able to travel. I still think that it is wrong, what they're doing to him, because he should have due process, and he should have due process to determine, is this freedom of speech or is he impeding on another group's right where there's strict scrutiny and it necessitates him being revoked his green card because maybe they are saying maybe is a terrorist or it's a terroristic attack or whatever. Sure, but he should be given due process. But if that is not you, if you are not doing that right now, that is not your platform, you have a green card, you're eligible to travel. And if you do travel, come back within the timeline because you've applied for legal permanent resident. So you shouldn't be staying out of the country for more than a year, right? If you know you need to stay out of the country for more than a year, apply for reentry permits. And right now, I'm speaking to older parents of immigrant children, for instance, because you guys are the ones that find yourself in this situation. I can't tell you how many of my parents' friends like send me text messages or forward me like viral posts and say, does this apply to me? Or like I'm in Nigeria and I want to stay there for like a year, or I'm in Ghana, I want to stay there for like a year. If you know that you want to stay there for longer than a year, which means that you essentially would be abandoning your green card, you want to apply for a reentry permit while you're in the United States so that it allows you to go out and stay for up to 2 years out there, right? Without any issues. So if you're a green card holder and all of the things that I said um, doesn't apply to you, you can travel. As a matter of fact, I just got back from St. Lucia, right? Like on Sunday, last week, I'm sorry, not Sunday, on Monday, like literally last week, Monday. And there were a party of like 40 because we were celebrating my husband's 50th birthday. And amongst us were many green card holders as well. And there was like, it literally took all of us like 5 minutes through customs and border. So what I'm saying is that there is a lot of context that you have to make sure you understand before you start going into fear and pandemonium, and paranoia. Like I keep saying it every week, stay out of legal trouble. Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to be arrested. Okay. Um, if you are very vocal, about the war, in Gaza, and you're not a U.S. citizen, maybe just tone it down, a little. Is it right? No, it's not. But if it's a fear or concern that you have that they can take away your due process until we know that there's penalty for them taking away your due process, just maybe don't put yourself in a situation where they will do that. It's really a hard line, because for those people who are U.S. citizens that have the flexibility and the liberty to do that, as green card holders, they're essentially bullying them, so you just want to be mindful of that. Okay. Okay. Let me go back up and try to track some of this question. Can someone still work with an employment authorization card even when denied and you file an I-290B? No, the answer is no. If your case is denied, so is your work permit and so is your travel permit that was associated with that application. If they reopen your case through the 290B appeal, once the case is reopened, it will reactivate those work permit and travel permit that was denied with the 485. Now, before you appeal a case, it's always a good idea to speak with a lawyer to determine whether, from a strategic standpoint, is it better for you to appeal or is it better for you to file a new application? So, with each client, sometimes a client might come and say, I want to appeal this or I want to refile this. And by the time I talk to them and analyze everything, my strategy is the complete opposite of what they want. So it's good to always speak to somebody. Okay. What is your take on traveling from South Carolina to Boston via bus? I filed a marriage-based case, but no receipts as of yet. Honestly, I can't tell you. I don't know much about the busing and how the busing works. I'm assuming like Greyhound. So I don't want to tell you something that I don't know. I don't know, how Greyhound works. Like, at the ports, are there people there like checking IDs randomly? So, I can't really tell you because honestly, I don't know. So just be careful. That's all I'll say. Or wait until you get your receipts. Once you get your receipts, then you can. Okay. Princess says, you helped me to get my 10-year green card last year from VAWA. I have my mom in Mexico. Can I travel to see her for a week? I miss her a lot. Absolutely. You can absolutely travel. Enjoy your trip. Okay. Hi, I applied for VAWA and all the other stuff, 485, blah, 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 in February of 2022. So it's now over 3 years, and all I have is a prima facies and EADs. I did not submit my medical at the time. Do you think if I submit my medical now, it will trigger them to pull my file and possibly get a response? Or do you think the medical will get lost? Your medical will get lost. Please do not submit it now. You wait till you receive a request for evidence for your medical. Okay. When you have a cancellation of deportation and renew the green card, can I travel out of the country with no problem? Carmen, I have to see your court's order to be able to tell you. Okay. Lovely says, please, I want to ask if after an interview and the status of my case says it must be reviewed, is it normal? Yeah, that can happen. Sometimes they really need to go over your files and decide if they need to send you a request for additional evidence or not. But most people so it depends on, like if you got like a paper. Some people will get like a result of their interview on the day of the interview. Some officers won't give it. They'll just say you get a decision. So if you're not getting a decision, you'll get a request for additional evidence, in the next couple of weeks, but that's normal. So that's nothing to panic about unless, you're saying something else happened during your interview. If a green card holder was caught with 2 guns and impersonating an officer, is that charge deportable? It sounds like a crime of moral turpitude. Yeah, we'll need to know a little bit more in what state, but it's potentially a deportable offense. Yeah. Can I fly on my Jamaican passport after May 7th? You might want to check with the airline that you're using. They all have flight manifests and specifically state what the document requirement is to travel with them. My husband filed a marriage-based green card for me in February of 2024, and we haven't heard anything. Do you know how long it takes? So you should be almost around that time right now. You should be almost around that time right now. So hopefully you hear something very soon. Okay, let me see. I'm going to take one more question and I got to go. Let me find a good one. Green card. If you didn't inform Social Security that you've become a U.S. citizen in 2017, any repercussions now? What do you mean you didn't inform them back then? I mean, as long as you're a U.S. citizen, you're fine. But you should go update, get your Social Security card updated. There's no repercussion though. You just, if you're, depending on what Social Security you have, if yours says not authorized without you can't use it without DHS authorization, that you want to get the clear one that doesn't have it. That really doesn't take time. Just go to the Social Security office and get that update. Okay. um okay. A lot of these questions, I'm looking for something that can take me like less than 60 seconds. um I already answered that question for somebody else. um okay. Someone is asking, is it normal if I did a marriage-based interview in October of last year and I haven't gotten a decision as of yet? I would say that probably now is a good time to just do an inquiry, to check. Usually, if you've not received an interview after 6 months, most of the time you're usually under like a fraud investigation. So just do an inquiry and see. So I'll be curious to know how your interview went. Did you have a Stokes? Were there things that seemed very red flag to them, or whatever? But 6 months would be a long time, I'd say, without hearing anything at all. So you want to do an inquiry now, but it's possible that there might be a fraud investigation going on, which could also include like a home visit, like job visit, property management visit, like any of that. So just reach out to them and see though what's going on. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm sorry I can't get to all the questions. I have a consult right now. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.